What's the story, Morning Glory? What is up, Buttercup? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way, Season 5, Episode 7, Tales from the Crypto. So let's get started with Brandon and Mary. So Brandon and Mary, every time I look at this couple, I think to myself, this is such a young couple. They are going through some serious relationship turmoil and they're just babies. They even still have their baby face. They should be thinking about their future as far as education or career or just having a good time. Don't waste your youth on crying and being stressed out and being absolutely, completely depressed. Don't waste your youth away with all of these negative feelings, all of these negativity, because once your youth is gone, it's gone forever. You can never get it back. And you have your 30s, 40s, 50s and beyond to be stressed out and to be upset and etc. Don't waste your precious youth because it's so short, constantly being stressed out. So they're walking to church. Now, church is really important to Mary, but it's not that important to Brandon. He's going because he's doing this for Mary. So they're sitting in the church and Mary keeps telling him over and over and over again, don't look at any other girls. If you're not looking at the priest, look at me. Don't turn left, don't turn right. You have to look at me. You have to look at the priest. Don't. And he's just like, oh my God, this is bananas. So after church, they walk outside and they're having a conversation, and Mary tells him that she wants him to go to church every single Sunday. She wants him to be a believer of Christ and to accept Christianity 100%. Now he tells her, look, you can't do that. Okay. You cannot control me in that way. You can't tell me what to do, what to believe. And for sure, you can't keep telling me where to look, where to rest my eyes. You can't do that. You have to have some kind of trust in me. I've moved all the way from America to come be with you in the Philippines. So you have to give me some type of credit that I'm really in this relationship for you. So you have to just let go a little bit and just trust me that I'm not going to leave you. And so then she starts talking about how, she tells him, as far as the whole church thing and her telling him not to look at other girls in church, she says, because, this is a church and you can't look at other women because it's going against God. Mary, stop right there, sweetheart. Stop right there. Please don't use God as a weapon to control your husband, to control your boyfriend, because you are so insecure with yourself. That right there is where I drew the line with Mary. Don't use the Lord to control your husband, to control your boyfriend, because you are so insecure with yourself. So Mary then starts, she does what she does best when she feels like she's losing this argument, when she feels like Brandon is not sympathizing enough. She starts to cry. If everything else fails, start crying. So she starts to cry and she tells him, well, then maybe you should just be with somebody else. Okay, so those are the options you're giving him, Mary. Either you control the movement of his eyeballs or he has to go be with someone else. There's nothing in between. There's no way to work this out. There's no way to compromise on anything. So she starts to cry, and then she starts talking about the fear of being left. And this really reminds me of 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days, where we have Statler and Dempsey, and Statler, who was adopted as a child, who's given up for adoption as a baby, uses that to sort of control people to stay with her. Like, oh, my parents abandoned me. They didn't want me. So I always have this fear of abandonment, and that is supposed to make your partner feel really sorry for you and feel too afraid or too guilty to break up with you. So here we have it again with Mary. So she tells Brandon, my parents abandoned me and my brothers, and when they left, they never even called us. We never heard from them again. And so, yes, while it is a very sad story and we do sympathize with Mary that her parents could do such a horrible thing, you can't use that to control people. because, and I wish Mary would understand and realize that even if you try to guilt someone into staying with you, they will never really, you don't really have them because they don't really want to be with you. They're staying with you out of guilt. And I wish that she was just grown enough to understand that guilt does not work. If he stays with you because he's afraid that you're going to have a nervous breakdown, or if he stays with you because your issues of it, it's not because he wants to be with you. It's because he feels too guilty to leave you. So she talks about that, and that all of his the tears and the stories of being abandoned, they always work on Brandon because he falls for it. Oh, Mary, I'm sorry. Oh, Mary. And he starts hugging her and everything. And so then he asks her, if we got married, if we had kids, would that be enough for you to let go of this fear of abandonment? And Mary says, I don't know, maybe. And so Brandon is like, well, that doesn't sound too convincing. We could do all of that, get married, have children, and you would still have this issue of not trusting me and thinking that I'm going to leave you. So Brandon tells her that she needs to put more trust into him. She cries even harder, right? She cries even harder. And then it looks like from the little teaser that they gave us for next week that she cried herself into a damn asthma attack. These kids are too young to be going through stuff like this. Mary, if Brandon really loved Mary, if he really loved Mary, he would let Mary go and encourage her to get therapy so that she can heal herself. If and only if her stories of abandonment have any truth in it. If she's really feeling this, oh, my parents left me, I feel unwanted, I feel unloved, I feel like I'm not good enough for anybody. If she really does feel that way, then she needs to get therapy. And Brandon has to love her enough to let her go so she can allow herself to heal. If it's not that, if she's just using that as a manipulation tool to keep him because she's so insecure, then he still needs to leave her. This is still not the relationship for him. Either way, the girl needs therapy. And I hope Brandon comes to his senses and leaves her before they have children, before children are involved in this toxic environment. Yeah, this is just not the whole situation with, FaceTiming each other 24/7 before he left the United States. That was so unhealthy. That was so sick in the head. And then y'all remember he said, well, when I get to the Philippines, I think it's going to be better because she's going to have more trust in me because I'm going to be right there. Well, you were sitting right next to her in church and she still had no trust in you. And she was telling you how to control the movement of your eyes. Moving on from there, let's talk about Wayne and Holly. So they're like, okay, Wayne and Holly, what's the situation with them? Holly's in South Africa. She doesn't feel safe in the neighborhood that Wayne lives in because his house has been broken into several times. Now, he's rigged it to where it can ward off any potential burglars, but she still doesn't feel safe. So she had scheduled all of these appointments to see these houses behind his back, not to see the houses behind his back. She made the appointments behind his back, and then she sprung it on him that morning telling him, hey, I scheduled some appointments to go look at some houses. Now, he is not in the mood for that because he can't afford a new house. But he's going to go ahead and appease her, and he's going to go ahead and look at these damn houses. So so they're in their car on their way to go see their first house, and she's listing off all the things that she's expecting in this potential new home. She said that she wants to have a swimming pool, a walk-in closet, a security system, AC system. She wants it safe enough where she can go jogging at night, and she also wants she wants to live in a gated community. Now, the jogging at night, I don't care where you live. I don't care how many gates are in that damn community, how many security guards are there, because the people within that community can still be up to no good. I would not recommend jogging at night. And I understand it's a little bit cooler at night, and maybe she's doing it because of the weather. It's probably extremely hot in the daytime. You need to invest in a treadmill, because this jogging at night thing, no, I don't recommend that at all. So the first house they go look at is 113,000 US dollars, which converts to 2.2 million South African rand. And it was a nice, cute little home. It was really cute. It had granite countertops. It had a little pool in the back. It was a really cute house. It had like a little patio set up in the back by the pool. But it was expensive, and it could have been half that cost. And Wayne still isn't buying it because Wayne is broke. So the realtor asks them about their budget. So what is your budget? Because he wants to know. I can't be showing you these expensive homes when y'all don't have the money. So let's start off with, what is your budget? So Holly steps in and tells the realtor 4 million rand. And Wayne looks at her like, what? Holly, be quiet. Please be quiet. These are your man's finances and what your expectations are, and your girl, all of this should have been discussed before you left the United States. Now that you're here and y'all are about to get married in a few days, now you want to go into his finances and you're trying to figure out exactly how much money does he have, can he take care. Girl, it is too late. You should have been asking these questions before you left. I think she's from Utah, before you left Utah. So Wayne can't afford this house. He tells her that he has no savings. And so Holly says, so you can't provide for me? And Wayne says, I can provide for you. I just can't buy you a new house. And Holly, you should be happy with that. The whole security situation, if you didn't feel safe in that home, in his house, why didn't you discuss these things beforehand? And if he would have told you before you left Utah, I'm not going to buy a new house, I can't afford it, you're going to be happy with the way that I've had everything rigged in here. Like, I mean, the strings attached to the bottles of mace, that if you open up the garage door, you get maced in the face. If you're not happy with that, then just don't go to South Africa if that wasn't enough security for you. So later on, she tells them, we need to sit down, have a conversation about your money. I need to know exactly what we're working with. How much money do you have? How much money is your business making? I need to see your accounting books. And he's the kind of guy where he feels like he does not want to mix his relationship with his business. So Holly comes from the point of view of, oh, I want to help. I want to help. If you're struggling in your business, I want to help. I want to help. I don't see how she can, because I think she was just using that as a ploy to really figure out how much money this man had. I don't think she has any interest in helping him run his business. So Wayne tells her, I want to keep my business separate from my relationship, because in my previous marriage, me and my wife were both running the business together, and it ruined our marriage because the business took over everything. It took over our relationship. So Wayne then tells her, because she's so insistent in knowing, he tells her that he had invested 40,000, I guess, US dollars, whatever would have been equivalent to 40,000 US dollars. He invested that in crypto. And so then all of a sudden the bells are going off in Holly's head. And she's like, oh, so that's why we can't go on a honeymoon, because you don't have any money because you put it all in crypto. And so Holly is upset now because she's like, I sacrificed so much to be here with you. Now I feel like you're deceiving me and I don't really know who you are. So then she gets up and she runs off. The Wayne and Holly story is, not that interesting to me. I mean, I'm so sick and tired of Holly and her extremely this whole vampire look between her and Wayne, his teeth and her extremely pale skin and dark hair. Y'all, I'm over Wayne and Holly. And if all they're going to be giving us is she's begging for a new house and he can't afford it, yeah, this is not that interesting to me. I'm gonna need 90 Day Fiance to yeah, I'm not that interested in this. Moving on from there, we have Armando and Kenny. So their main issue is whether or not they're going to move to Mexico City and whether or not they're going to have a baby of their own as a couple. So Kenny is FaceTiming his daughter. He has triplet daughters and a son, so he has 4 kids in total. And so he's FaceTiming one of his triplet daughters. She announces to him that she's about 7 weeks pregnant. Now, what I did not understand is this the daughter that had the child? Because he has a daughter that has a little boy. Is it that daughter or just another daughter? I couldn't figure it out. I have a feeling it's another daughter. So Kenny starts getting very emotional because with him living in Mexico, he's missing out on so many milestones and so many major events with his kids. He's not there, and he would like to be there. He says to watch her belly get big and to be part of the whole pregnancy experience and to watch his grandkids grow up, but he can't, so he gets really emotional about that. So the daughter asks about Kenny and Armando's plan to have a child. Kenny says that he's realizing that he's just too old to start all over with a new baby. He's and I'm so glad that he is thinking about this, because when you have these celebrities like Al Pacino and excuse me, Robert De Niro, just making babies willy nilly all over the place. And they're in their 80s. It's like y'all need to be a little bit more cautious. It's not just the young guys that have to be cautious and they have to keep it strapped up and, prevent It's not just the young guys, okay? It's the geriatrics too, the octogenarians. Y'all have to also play it safe. Don't be out there just creating babies for the sake of it. You know what the hell is going on. You know how babies are made. Please strap up, okay? You can't be bringing children into this world and you're 90 years old simply for the fact that this child is going to have to experience the loss of a parent way before it's time for them to experience that. And yes, our parents can be taken from us at any time. But the older your parents are, just a higher probability of you being without a parent at a much younger age. So this is what Kenny is thinking about. And I truly appreciate Kenny for using his common sense. And so he's realizing that he's just way too old and he just doesn't want to. I guess in his mind, he wanted to get himself a young guy so that he can have a good time with his young husband, travel, drink mimosas on the beach, just relaxing and chilling. He wasn't thinking about changing diapers and 3 a.m. feedings and colicky babies who won't go to. He wasn't thinking about all of that. So Kenny knew, and I feel like with Kenny, he had always known that he was going to say no, but he just doesn't want to really admit that because it's going to hurt Armando so bad. But he had always knew that, his heart just wasn't in it. I think he was hoping that his feelings would change over time, that he would just be all of a sudden overwhelmed with this need to have a baby with Armando. But that feeling never came. And so he says that he may not, then he starts talking about in his confessional that he may not be the right person for Armando, as if there's this possibility that they may break up. Armando and Kenny, I think they will never break up. So that's not even a possibility as far as I'm concerned. So he talks about how Armando's at that age where he wants to expand his family and he wants to have more children, and Kenny, he's just not there. So they may not be that compatible. I don't think this is going to break their relationship. So then all of them go on a riverboat ride. It's him and Hannah and Armando and Armando's mom. They all go on a riverboat ride. So the mom starts asking questions about, how far have they gotten with the whole surrogacy thing and how did the consultation go? So this opens up the door to talk about, much deeper things. So the whole thing about Armando really wanting to have a child is because he had lost a child when Hannah's mother died in that car accident. So Hannah's mom passed away in a car accident, and at the time she was 8 months pregnant and she was carrying a little girl. So that really affected Armando, and he still really hasn't gotten over the loss of that child. And so I guess in a way he's been trying to he's been thinking that maybe he can replace that baby with a new baby or something, because it left a hole. Okay, just left a hole in his heart when he lost that baby. And so in a way he's trying to get that baby back or something. So Kenny also as well had lost children. I guess his surrogate was carrying twins at some point and they ended up passing away at, she was about 4 months pregnant. So they both experienced that loss. And so this is, I guess, what the driving force behind Armando really, really wanting to have a baby. And even his mother would like to see Armando with a baby to give Hannah that experience of having a sibling. And maybe Armando's thinking that maybe this will fill up that hole in his heart that was left when he lost his baby when the mother passed away in the car accident. I don't know. I don't think they're going to end up having a child together. I think Armando's going to be the one who's going to have to let that dream go. And hopefully they'll work through it. Now we're on Kirsten. So Kirsten is back in the Netherlands. She says that she FaceTimes Julio every single day. They FaceTime each other, but something is just not really the same. Something is missing in their dynamic. So she meets up with one of her best friends, and she tells her friend, she gets her friend all caught up with the Julio drama, telling her friend that, yeah, Julio did not tell anybody about me, didn't tell his mom, didn't tell any of his family members, didn't tell his friends. Nobody knew about about me when I arrived in America. And so we were all having dinner with his mother, and then he just blindsided his mother with this news of, you know, how long we've been together, the fact that we're thinking about getting married. He's applied for his citizenship in the Netherlands, and he's planning on moving to the Netherlands in 3 months. So all of this all this information was given to the mother over dinner, and the mom got really emotional and started crying and everything. So she tells her friend, now Julio was supposed to come to the Netherlands in 3 months. Now he's telling me he wants to come in 6 months. And so, because he has to stay longer in America to help out his mom with something. So the friend is like, oh, no, ma'am. You need to lay down the law. You need to let that man know either he comes in 3 months or it's over. So basically, her friend is telling her to give him an ultimatum, which I 110% agree with. Julio's out there playing games now because, and I understand maybe with him, he didn't tell anybody because they were going to try to talk him out of it. That's why he kept everything such a secret. And now that the cat's out of the bag, the things that are happening is exactly what he expected. They were going to try to talk him out of it. But Julio, you're a grown man. You need to figure out what the hell you want to do. Do you want to be with this girl or you don't? Okay, the girl doesn't want to come to America, so you need to make up your mind. Are you going to go over there with her in 3 months, or are you just going to call it quits? Stop playing these games. Stop playing both sides of the fence between your girlfriend and your family. Be a man, make a decision, and stick with it. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.